Hi guys, it's Shelly, the bread lady from the Freight House Farmers Market. And because you purchased the turkey kit for Thanksgiving, you also got the recipe and all the ingredients that you need to make sausage stuffing. Now if you've already started your turkey from the first video, you know I didn't stuff my turkey. I don't like stuffing the turkey. It changes the baking time, and you really have to be sure that your turkey has baked fully if you're going to stuff it. Just have to take extra caution and make sure you get a meat thermometer if you're going to stuff that turkey, because it does change the temperature and the heat ratio. So we're going to just do ours in a casserole dish, but I'll tell you right now, you can do it in a casserole dish or you can do it in your crock pot. If you're going to cook it in your crock pot, you're going to cook it for 1 hour on high. You're going to get the same great thing. You save a little space in your oven when you're making your turkey dinner. So we're going to use this casserole dish here. So what we're going to do first is you need to melt some of this fabulous butter that you got in your kit, and we need 1.5 cups of butter. So you cut this into 4 parts. Each part is 1/2 cup. So you're going to take 1/4 of it plus half of another quarter to get your 1.5 cups of butter, and you're going to melt that on the stove. And I have already pre-melted my butter. Here it is. We're going to go over here because I've also got my great Italian sausage. You've got 1 pound of Italian sausage here. I've already been cooking it. It takes about 10 minutes to cook this fully, and you want to cook it fully. You'll notice there's very little grease that comes off of this sausage. It's just fabulous. So it's all done. I'm going to spoon this into a bowl, set it off to the side. We're going to leave those droppings, the oil that did come off, we're going to leave it in the pan, because as soon as I'm done with this, and it doesn't really matter if you've got a little bit of the sausage that's left over in your pan. I happen to use a wok for everything, so you don't have to use a wok. I just always use cast iron, and I love my wok. Been using this thing for about 40 years, so it's well seasoned. So we've got most of that out there. I've still got my heat is set on medium heat here. And I've got this butter that we've already melted. We're gonna pour all of it into here. Get a little bit of that sweet cream off the bottom of your butter. And that's okay. So we're gonna get that heating up here in the pan. Now let's take a look over here. Stuffing is pretty simple. It's just bread, celery, and onion. So you're going to take 1 medium-sized onion, which you have in your kit. About this much onion is what you're going to use. You're going to chop it up into just bits like this. You're then going to take four stalks of your celery, and you're going to chop 4 stalks, cut it from here to here. Chop 4 of them up. That's about 1.5 cups of celery right there, and that's all you need for 1 batch. Now I'm going to tell you something about your celery here. Most people, they just cut all this stuff off and they throw it away. They cut this off, wash their celery, and they throw that, what they call bad stuff, away. Well, we don't do that around here. We put it in a bag and we save it, because all this stuff we can use to make our turkey stock after Thanksgiving. We're going to put it in a bag, and a few days after Thanksgiving, I'm going to show you how to make turkey stock. The other fun thing with celery, who knew there was so much fun stuff about celery? The center that people never want to eat or chop up, well, you can take that center, don't break it all off, leave that bulb on the end, plop it in some water. It's going to grow some roots. You can stick that in dirt and grow yourself some celery all winter long. Grandkids will love it. Anyway, so we've already got all of our celery, and we've got our onion ready to go. We're going to just put it here in the pan, and we're going to start frying it. I'm going to turn that heat up just a little bit more. We're going to get this so that it's translucent. We're not going to brown anything. We just want it to start to get tender. So we're going to let that go just a little bit here. And I'm going to tell you about this pan that I have sitting over on the side of the stove here. when you're gonna do your stuffing in a separate casserole dish, instead of just putting the casserole dish into the oven, you know, you're gonna get those burnt edges in your casserole. If you put it in a pan of water, you can see I've got a little bit of water here. It's sitting on the stove because our turkey's in the oven, so this is getting a little bit warm. So I've got warm water in here. We're gonna put our casserole right inside of this pan of water, and that's gonna help from, first of all, it's gonna bake a little more evenly, kind of like when you make a cheesecake. And it's going to help keep that from getting burnt around the sides. Now, if you do it in your crock pot, you're gonna want to make sure that you've sprayed the inside of your crock pot with some Pam or butter it, just like you're gonna do with the casserole bowl here when we get ready to put this all together. So we're gonna let this, I'm turning it up a little bit, get the heat going on this. Seems like a lot of butter, but we've gotta get something that's going to soak up into all of that bread. We have 8 cups of bread cubes that we're using for this recipe. And of course that was in your kit. Now, just to be fun, you can add a chopped up cinnamon roll in your breadcrumbs, gives it a little sweetness if you like that. You can add a chopped up apple if you like, right into the recipe. It's not really gonna alter anything. Makes it just a little bit sweeter. We have included into the recipe poultry seasoning for you, which is already mixed of everything that you need other than black pepper. And again, that's in your kit, and you're just gonna add it once we get ready to transfer this to the bowl. Again, we just need all of that to get a little more translucent, and I'm gonna grab my bread. The thing I like about using a wok is that it really helps you control keeping everything down in the center of the pan there, so everything is cooking evenly. You can see that our onions are starting to get translucent, which is exactly what we want. We don't really want to overcook them, so they're just going to get too soft. So now that we've got that well on its way, I'm going to add just a little bit of my breadcrumbs into the pan here, just to let them soak up a little bit of this juice. I wish you could smell this. It smells great. You don't want it really to burn in there, so you keep it moving around, soaking up all that juice. All right, we're going to turn this heat down. I'm going to spoon it over the rest of my bread that I've already got in the bowl here. Get as much of that in there as you can. We're going to just start tossing this. Remember, this is just so hot, so don't use your hand to do any of this because it's just too hot to handle. All right, so now we've got that all mixed together. We're going to bring over our sausage, add it to our mixture, bring it back over to our table here. continue to toss this all together. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. So now we're going to add, we've got 3 teaspoons of poultry seasoning here, which is already in your kit. And you're going to take 1/4 of a teaspoon of the ground black pepper and add that in. And you're just going to continue to toss this. Now you can see all that bread is really soaking up the butter. And this is really a very tasty recipe because of all that butter. What's better than butter? All right, so that is pretty well tossed. We're gonna spray our casserole here. Or if you're gonna do it in your crock pot, just spray your crock pot or butter it with some of the melted butter. Spoon this in, don't pack it in, spoon it in. Now if you have an inclination to stuff your bird, this is certainly enough to stuff a bird and then get a little extra. But again, don't pack it tightly into the bird. It's just not gonna bake evenly and correctly if you pack it too tight. So we've got just about all that this one can handle. Now, remember, we made that extra stock when we were making our turkey. Got a little bit more there for a nice little lunch later. And if you feel like you want to add some of that stock that we prepared earlier, now would be the time. You can drizzle a little over there. I don't feel like this needs it, but you might prefer a little bit of that, and that's fine. That's why we have the extra going here. So we're not going to put a tight lid on this. We're just going to put a little tin foil top. We're going to pop it in the oven for about 45 minutes. Remember, we're going to stick it in this pan of water, which is going to keep it from burning. And there we go. Pop it in our oven that is set to 350, and it's ready to go. I've got sweet potatoes in the oven right now, and they're about ready to come out too. Happy eating!